Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Valerie Clemmy. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager for Shrewsbury Electric and Cable Operations.
Woo! I'm your hype girl.
Thanks, girl.
I'm your hype girl.
You might be wondering why SELCO is hosting a cooking program. This just isn't just any cooking program. It's focused on induction cooking, which uses, and you'll hear more about this, I'm sure, but it uses electricity to directly heat your cookware through magnetic fields, which means faster cooking times, better temperature control, and the best part is no open flames. I just want to give a little bit of a story to kick us off, but cooking is something that I'm sure most of you can relate. It's an emotional thing. Some of us are connected to our appliances.
Sure.
And I'll admit, even growing up, my grandfather, he was a great cook.
Sure.
But he loved his gas stove.
Of course.
He went to go move. It was about 20 years ago, but he would not even buy a house unless it was gas because he really believed that gas cooking was the way to go. It was that even temperature. He did not like the electric coils because it was off. He just felt like that wasn't for him.
Sure.
So I grew up thinking the same thing naturally.
And breathing some fabulous fumes, Grandpa.
Of course, you know.
Okay.
You
didn't know.
It actually wasn't until a couple of years ago when I started working for SELCO that I learned about induction cooking.
Yeah.
And I actually visited the Mass Clean Energy Center's website. And what do you know? Rachelle Boucher was right on there. So I watched her.
I'm big in some circles. I'm big in tiny circles now.
So I watched her video and I was amazed at the things that I learned. And then I actually came to Shrewsbury Public Library and I rented an induction cooktop.
Stop it.
I did. And here we are. Here we are.
So good.
And I couldn't believe how powerful this thing was that I had to get one for myself. Like, it was just, it was great. So, as your local utility, SELCO is committed to promoting clean energy technologies that benefit our community. And induction cooking not only supports electrification and environmental goals, but it also offers everyday benefits like safety and cost savings, which we'll go over in a little bit.
For sure.
So we're definitely excited to share more with you today. I just want to introduce a couple of people in the room. Patrick Collins back there, he's our integrated resources analyst.
That was not the title you said.
Yeah. He's our energy guy.
Yeah.
Right? So he knows all things electrification, decarbonization, sustainability, power supply. He's your guy.
Thank you.
Olivia Perrin, she is our marketing coordinator. She helped promote the event today and came up with a lot of the materials here, so thank you very much for all your work. Julie Cellularo, she's in the crowd.
Julie!
She's the reference librarian for our wonderful Shrewsbury Public Library. She's the co-host of this event, which ties into the library's theme of food and nutrition for their community-wide read during the months of March, April, and May. So it's really nice we were able to tie these two things together.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Julie, and the Public Library for hosting us today. Sarah from Shrewsbury Media Connection. I'm sure you all know of our wonderful public access entity that we have here in town. So thank you so much, Sarah, for being here to record today's event. It'll be available on their YouTube, on demand, and on SELCO Stream Channel 28. And, of course, the star of our show, Rachelle
The induction
Boucher.
cooktop.
She's been a professional chef for decades.
Yeah.
She's a senior lead for culinary experiences and events for the Building Decarbonization Coalition, whose mission is to bring people and organizations together to advance the transition to a clean energy future.
Absolutely.
She has a very impressive background, and I would say that she is the expert in induction cooking. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you and show us what you got.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So years ago, I went to see Oprah, like a taping of Oprah in Chicago. Has anybody seen that ever? It was so amazing. And before the show, this woman came out and she was like whooping everybody up. And I realized that's a hype girl.
Yeah.
So I'm all about the hype girl for everybody. So it's really wonderful to be here. I was born in Maine, and I actually lived 30 years in San Francisco. Any Bay Area people out there? None? You're like, no, we like it here. It's super fun and adventurous, amazing. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, but we were really excited to move back 1 year tomorrow. We got in the car and drove with our 2 cats. We'll talk. It was hilarious. Cool. But let's go right into it. We have a short presentation PowerPoint just to kind of a little bit more of like what we do and why induction and all the things. And then we'll go into all more cooking. But I brought lots of stuff for us. So it's just exciting. The drive here was like, there's no traffic, people. It was beautiful. So I'll tell you about that word in a little bit, Chefluencer. That's something that I get to work on with my job. But we are springing forward to induction cooking and sustainability. And it's a showcase because that sounds fancy. All right, so we'll go to the next slide. And this is our presentation today. We'll just do like a little bit more introduction because I think the personal stories of like how we get here and how we sort of fall in love with this and all that is important. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about induction cooking. I don't anticipate that people know all about it. Maybe some of you could write, I'll write articles about it. So we'll just touch on that a little bit. And then we'll do the interactive cooking session. I have some Thai lettuce cups. One thing is pretty magical in the Bay Area is I was used to living amongst like mostly Asian people, so the food was magic. So I got to learn from some of the best people in terms of Asian food, Vietnamese or Thai food, Vietnamese. So I'll share any of that with you. And then we'll have questions and answers and local resources, which is really fun. And a taste test for sure. So the way I know, right? The way that'll work is once we'll do our question and answers, and then we'll serve some of you in the front, and then we'll have people come up, one at a time, and don't rush me. Yeah, okay. But it's great to see everybody here. This is super fun. So we'll go to the next slide. There's me. So just briefly, I did, like I said, I went to high school in Pennsylvania. I always wanted to be a chef. But there was the only person then, I kid you not, the only woman that you ever saw that was a chef was who back in the day? Julia, right? That's my age range. And I love Julia. She's a goddess, but I couldn't relate to her. So, she's an anomaly. She's from here. She did all cool stuff in Boston. So it was really, I had to really take kind of the long way around. So I worked a lot in restaurants. I have all those arm burns. We'll talk about how those don't need to be a thing anymore. And I got to, I got to move to California, and I got to be a private chef. So this was before it was like a known thing. And I kid you not, like, how many people are Star Wars fans? I'm a maniac. All right, now I am not in California because all those hands would be up. Fine. All right, I'm doing a cultural litmus test. So I'm a super fan. It was the first time I ever saw a woman that had agency. She had her own weapons and things. So Princess Leia was very important to me back in 1977. So flash forward to, I got an opportunity. Somebody came into my cooking class and said, there's a private chef opportunity. I didn't even know what that was. Turns out it was for legit George Lucas. So, like, I'm from small town Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, y'all. It was the best experience of my life. And from there, I got to work just with a lot of amazing, life-changing people in their homes, mostly all gas cooking, but that started to change, which was really exciting. It wasn't until I started to work in the appliance industry. So when you work for a private chef, that job, it's amazing, but you are definitely working for somebody else's dream. And that's great. I will feed George forever. But I really wanted to think kind of like Princess Leia. Like, what was my dream? What was my hero's journey? So I started working in the appliance industry. Anybody here work in the cooking appliance industry? What do you people do? No. You're like, we don't have to work. No. But I did, you can envision that. So I got to be a chef in the appliance world. So you go in and there's all the beautiful showrooms, and I got to work on all the stuff. And what happened there, y'all, was, does anybody know Miele, the German brand? It's very fancy. Oh my God. I won't private chef if they don't have a Miele dishwasher. I'm such a jerk. No, it's a thing. So I did, when I was working at Miele, you have to picture like right here is the big dual fuel range. So the big gas on the top and electric inside. And right next to it was a very innocent looking flat cooktop, the induction. And this was probably 9 years ago. And so I'm working on both. And over time, I was like, no. And I'll explain why. I became 100% I was doing like an experiment on myself and I didn't even know. And I was just like, it's hot, it doesn't work well, it's slow. And we're talking the Miele range, don't get me wrong, the dual fuel range is like 19,500 BTUs. It's a lot of power, right? The induction cooktop smoked it. We'll talk about that. So it was weird. Like I just totally migrated. And then as clients came in, I started showing it to them. So I got to cook with people from all walks of life. So somebody would say, I don't know if you can do Indian food. I'm like, let's try it. So they'd bring in all their stuff and we'd be making like killer doses on the induction. Asian cooking, wok cooking, on and on. So I had this special sort of experiment going on and I became an induction cooking super fan. So I work now at the Building Decarbonization Coalition, which you mentioned. They made a special chef-shaped cutout for me to fit into that magical organization. And I'll tell you more about the Chefluencers. My job is I work in consumer inspiration, also known as public engagement. Do you feel engaged?
You're doing your job.
Don't get me fired. Come on, it's on film. So I get to work with people because I really understand very deeply that it is very hard to make that switch. You gotta kind of trust it. You really have to try it for yourself. So we're gonna talk about that. So we'll go to the next slide. So that's what we've done. You've already talked about that. We work to get gas out of buildings. We work with gas companies, we work with electric companies, we work with all kinds of organizations, and it's about coalition. And coalition means bringing people along wherever they are, not gas shaming them, not bashing on anything. So we'll go to the next one. There's the Chefluencers. So I was so busy running around the country like, cook on induction, you guys should love induction, it's really amazing, that we realized we needed a lot more chefs. And our organization said, oh, we need to clone you. I'm like, we do not need more of this. We need other flavors. So it's really special. We have a team, we have about 40 chefs. We train them in about groups of 10 to 12. We haven't done Chefluencer on the East Coast. I'm really excited. And we go around and do experiences with realtors. So any realtors? Okay, good. So the National Association of Realtors, we do an event there, which is really fun. Realtors, I mean, you're trying to sell a house. How do you do that, right? Well, it's becoming a thing. We do a lot of things with affordable housing, which is amazing. There's some incredible programs for that. So we bring in our chef. Anthony Serrano is the second generation Mexican-American restaurateur, and he is an induction super fan. And then over here, Chef Scott Spencer, he did a library loan program. Love that. So we have a myriad of chefs. One of our favorites, you guys are from the Boston area. Do you know Saba Wahid? She is amazing. You might see pictures of her. She's so great. Saba is one of our Chefluencers. You do? Yeah, she's unbelievable. So we'll move to that, but we have about 40 Chefluencers nationwide, and it's growing really fast. Why? We'll go to the next slide. What is induction is how you talked a little bit about this, but the why for chefs is that two things. Number one, the kitchen is the last thing. If we electrify all your other stuff, you're like, go ahead. And the kitchen, understandably, your grandfather was not wrong. Gas was the thing for a long time. Understandably, we're like, we're going to turn it all electric. And immediately, of course, we're thinking about what you talked about. Okay. So it's an electric. What it's not is it's not that old coil. My mom has that in her house, and I swear to goodness, I'm almost catching myself on fire all the time. Because I'm used to induction now where I can't catch on fire, so I'm almost always on fire. They're also just so hot. So my mom left the pan on the other day, and I was like, ah. So understandably, people are, conflating it together. Next thing here is the electric resistance cooktops. So those are the flat top. They can be just the cooktop, or they can be the whole range. And again, very slow to heat up, slow to cool down. My neighbor in Pacifica, California, the power went out, and she left her cooktop on, and she put paper towels on it. Mm-hmm. She lucky I live next door to her.
Yes.
Because I am good with fire. It was really frightening. Then we jump over to induction, and you hinted about this. It is underneath here. I'll show you a little bit. So I can't take it apart, but underneath this, there is a copper coil. So these are hobs. Induction comes in plug-ins. You can call them burners, but I'm being fancy. You can call them hobs because they don't really heat up in the same way. They come in cooktops, and they come in ranges, either slide-in ranges or pro ranges. Miele, Viking, Sub-Zero Wolf all make killer induction ranges if you want to get fancy. So what happens underneath here, and we can go to the next one. I think that's the last one. Oh, sorry, back up. We'll get to these and the difference. So that's what it is. The way it works is this. And first of all, how many have already been inducted out there? Where are my induction fans? Cool. I probably figure you can probably ask them, and they're probably pretty excited about it. People that do induction, y'all become what I call the water boilers, which means that you take people over your house and you're like, let me show you how quick I can boil water. Can I get a little water in this?
Yeah.
Cool. So any water boilers out there? I do it all the time. Yeah, right? Yeah, it's a thing. So, and reason being, there is a copper coil that lives underneath here or underneath your cooktop. And it, instead of getting hot and transferring some of the heat to the pan, it actually creates magnetic connection, like you're saying, in the pan, and it heats up the pan by way, it actually, the pan becomes your element. So over here, this is really not very efficient. As you know, much of the heat comes off of it. Here, put it right here and we'll go to town. Much of the heat comes off of it and onto you and onto the handles of the pan and into the room. Same thing with this. Gas cooking is only about 40% efficient. So any of you, how many people are math people? Okay, all right, now I'm getting closer, I'm getting warmer. Cool. So if you have 20,000 BTUs and only 40% of it is actually working, that's not very efficient. And it makes the whole room really hot. So as a private chef, I'm like, oh, I'm getting warm. So what I'm doing here, this is a Heston. This is a hob. I'm going to put this on. One question everybody has is about cookware, right? So I can touch it quickly, but not for much longer. When you do need magnetic cookware, and the way that you can figure that out is if a magnet sticks to the bottom, you're good. So I have actually a copper pan. The magnet won't really stick to the side, but it'll stick to the bottom. And that's most cookware. So you inducted people. What cookware do you use? Is it cast iron? Is amazing, right? What do you use?
All flat. Some of my all flats don't. They're not flat on the bottoms. They make one. I only had the stove for a week.
Yes.
Gas. So I'm like, that's why I'm here.
I'm with you. So one of the challenges with induction, with some units, is it can make a sound, right? And so does gas, but we're used to that sound. So look, this is already boiling. So cool. So what can happen? It can be a couple of things. It can be that it's just vibrating. It can also be the way that the metal is sandwiched together can create a hum. So it just kind of depends on that. Also, when you turn it right on, it may be louder, and then it can be quieter. So some surfaces are quieter, some cookware is quieter. Mine, look at that. So what we're talking about here is, this is about, and we'll get back to that, this is twice as fast as even 20,000 BTUs. And what's also really fun is I am not on fire. I love not being on fire. Oh, you know what I did? Does anybody have money? Like dollar bill? I'll show you. So now that I cook in the morning, I'm such a brat. Like I have this drapey little robe and I'm like, oh, I'm making my food. Oh. And I'm not kidding. I'm full on Jennifer Coolidge when I'm, yeah. So here, check this out. Thank you for trusting me with my money. So with your money. So also look, so because this is so efficient, it's coming up to boil so fast. So as you all know, pasta making is much faster. But then this is only getting as hot as the reflected heat, right? And then look at my handle. It's cool. This is cast iron.
Wow.
Amazing. Now, after a while, it will get hot. So don't be blaming me when you're grabbing your,
Rachelle said
you know, no. I am saying be cautious. And I have those freaky chef hands that don't get hot. So I can leave that there. So you're seeing this unbelievable efficiency on the coming up. But what's so exciting is actually your control. So I turned it off and it goes off.
Wow.
So I can't get unused to that. I freaking love it.
Yeah, there's no going back.
It's so exciting. Having that level of control. Now, for some people, and I really understand that, here, I'll just leave it there. We'll see that it won't catch on fire. I really understand that those visual cues that you're used to, right, when you see that flame, a lot of people kind of feel like they're going to miss that. For me, the visual cues, like I look down on gas. I literally haven't cooked in gas in 4 years, and then we rented an Airbnb, and I was like, oh my God, brat. So the visual cues you want, like you look down at first, but then the rest of your information really comes from the food, your smells and everything like that. So that's a visual cue right there. Turn it on, turn it on, turn it on, turn it on. Super fun. So you can see how that can translate into a lot of dishes. And let's talk about Indian dishes. Let's talk about Asian cooking, all kinds of fun things. So the money's okay.
Get your money back.
Get your money's worth here.
It's not even hot.
No. Now underneath this, don't try this at home. Actually, it's pretty cool. You will get reflected heat. So a lot of people when they demo, they're like, it's not hot. I'm like, it is. But it's a totally different situation. So having that thermal comfort, whether you're at home or restaurants. There's a restaurant in San Francisco called 165 SF. It's 5 stories of like French cuisine magic, all induction, all electric. And Friday night, the tickets are pouring in, the chefs are there. You can hear the music. It's cool and comfortable. The chefs are all in their own station. They don't know where else they could ever work at this point because they don't want to go back to getting injured and burned. So as I said, I have lots of arm burns from gas cooking from my years in the restaurant. Now you can still get burned from your pot, but the odds of that are so different. It's remarkable. Okay, let's talk about wok cooking. Who are chocolate people? Who is chocolatiers out there? Anybody work with chocolate? So what was the trivia about white chocolate and Shrewsbury?
It was introduced to the U.S. through Hebert's Candy Mansion.
Hebert's.
That's a thing?
Yes.
Where is this mansion?
You'll have to take a visit.
Who is this Hebert? I want to go to there.
It's not owned by the same family anymore.
Got it.
But,
That's so cool. That's lovely. I love that trivia. 4 white chocolate that have a higher melting point or a lower melting temperature than regular chocolate. Anybody know?
I'm gonna guess low.
Right on. That's why I use that. Totally. Absolutely. When you are melting chocolate, what do you normally have to kind of rig up here? A double boiler, right? Now here's a funny, so this is a brag. It's like a brag and a true story, which I'm good at. So I went and taught classes at Google, like the Google, before I got really mad at Google. And I won't go there anymore. But I taught classes, and in Google, in Mountain View and Sunnyvale, they have teaching kitchens because, Google. So you can go in and like take a class during your day when maybe you're supposed to be working, I don't know. But they have teaching kitchens, and they're all induction. And they've had them for 8 years. So my job was to teach these genius chefs, like, what you're working on is induction. And I'm thinking, Oh my God, like I had such bad imposter syndrome. First thing I taught the chefs, we're all together, they're teaching, they've been in their kitchens for 8 years. I taught them that you don't need a double boiler, and they were like, you mean we have been doing double boilers for 8 years with this induction? So the idea is that you not only have the high up and the control coming down, but all in between, you have a really amazing array of temperature changes. And there's stuff available now, and then there's some future stuff that's available now, which is super exciting. So with this one, for example, this is a Duck's top. They only make hobs, they don't make like cooktops. And what's really fun is you can use like 1 through 10, which is kind of what we're sort of used to with cooktops, or you can cook to temperature. So most of us aren't used to cooking to temperature when it comes to surface cooking. But think, what if your oven didn't have that? So now I'm like, if it's not 350, so does anybody fry stuff, like to fry chicken and frying things? Maybe not.
I do.
Okay, fine. I was a private chef for this baseball guy, and so we had battle fried chicken, and I did very well. So it was he and I. That's what we did. So what's so cool is you can set the temperature to exactly what you want, 350, 375 for your oil, and then once you put in the food, it will only come right back to that temperature.
That's
so
something I did not know.
right?
Yeah.
It's so fun.
That's amazing.
I know. I was worried because, he's from the South. So I was like, I'm dead. White girl from Bangor, Maine? I don't know. But my fried chicken hold well. So let's talk about wok cooking. One of the challenges for people is really understanding that centuries-old traditions can not only be replicated, but they can actually be made safer and stronger. With wok cooking, currently in the U.S., there are not a lot of wok hobs or cooktops that are convex, that have sort of that hole, and then you can put your round bottom wok in. They are available in Asia, but not here yet. They were about 15 years ago, but they're ahead of the game. And I'm talking too much, and I'm going to get too much smoke. So a flat bottom wok is really good. Look, I just wanted to show you the heat that I have. Now I just messed up all my seasoning. But your heat is incredible.
And you just turned that on.
I just turned it on.
That's amazing.
Does anybody know Martin Yan from Yan Can Cook?
Yep.
Can I tell you, I love him so much. He's one of my favorite people on earth, and he's one of our biggest advocates. He makes himself available when I need him, which shocks me. Not only that, he's the most darling human being and the hardest worker. I think he's 70. I don't think he's 80 yet. And we went to Hawaii on this thing, not together, but we worked together. And he was running circles around me, and it was like 130 degrees or something. And I'm like, stop it. So what you have is flat bottom wok. The wider your surface area is on the bottom, the more success you'll have in getting a wider heat signature. Up here, it's getting hot. Up here, oh yeah, it's getting really hot. But mostly it's going to be down in the bottom. If you want to do something like quantities of fried rice, the best thing that Chef Yan told me, yeah, so I'm such a bragger, but it's true. He said that you should use a spatula is what we need. He said to use a large cast iron pan. Because for your fried rice, you want, with wok cooking, like stir fry, you want the food to fall in the center. With something like that, you want a wide surface area. All right, so let me take out my tools. All right, so we'll get going on this. So one of the dishes I made for you today, it's really fun. This is great. So Maine, I moved to Maine and I live in an electric building. California, It's really amazing. So I got heat pumps, I got induction. I feel like the queen of the world. So Chef Yan talked to me a lot about this. One of the challenges with Asian cooking, particularly very high heat wok cooking, is a concept called wok hei. Has anybody heard of wok hei? Yeah, right? So wok hay is a phenomenon that happens when your wok is super hot, your food goes in, and it's so hot that it actually has a change in the polymers. There's a flavor change. So when you have a really great wok dish, look, no stick, no problem. This is tofu. It's firm tofu. When you have really good wok cooking food, noodles particularly, you taste them and you're like, what is that flavor? That is the magic of wok hay, otherwise known as the breath of the wok. So what I'm doing is I'm getting this tofu cooked up, just dried out a little bit for the noodles, or the lettuce wraps. Yeah. So with wok hay, it is about how much heat is generated. It's not that the flames are magically jumping into your food and making a change in the flavor. So Chef Yan is just one of our best advocates in the world. So does anybody make any Thai food at home sometimes? Love it. Awesome. What do you guys like to make? Which? Oh, nice. Show me, show me. I was very lucky to learn from some amazing people in the Bay Area about Thai ingredients. So I have a chicken version of this. Will you grab the bowl that's in the fridge? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So this has some pretty incredible ingredients in it. So this is a tofu version. I'm not going to put fish sauce. I'm going to put a gluten-free tamari, so this can stay completely vegan and allergy-free, okay? But, so I'm just going to keep moving this around. So you can see that I've got the heat that creates that non-stick surface. It's not a non-stick wok, it's just seasoned. And I have enough heat to really make this happen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So here's what our end result is going to be. See, camera? So this is the chicken version. This is ground chicken, and much like your recipe, exactly like your recipe, I cooked up the chicken just like this in a wok or a frying pan, either case. And then I'm adding in, I let it cool down, and then I'm adding in quite a bit of pretty fun ingredients. So I'll turn this down a little. So who knows this? Yes, it's right on the recipe. Here, send this around if you want. It's a big, thick kind of thing. You can smell that. What's interesting about it, I smash it up with my knife, and then on the inside, there's a little pink kind of barrier. And once you peel back past that little pink barrier, then this is your sort of more tender version. The good news is, I love this stuff. The good news is you can also get lemongrass paste. Unfortunately, I wish they wouldn't put it in plastic, but it is a very good, it's very good. And it's available kind of everywhere at this point. I was really happy to find it in Maine because you really have to cut this up very, very finely. So you've got to peel it, and then you got to cut it teeny weeny. But we've all had Thai food, and there's all those little bits in there, and nobody seems to mind. So I'll put quite a bit of that in it. So you've got that. What else did I just want to say it in order here. So lime leaves. Thai lime leaves are very hard to find here. Even in Portland, I can't find them in Maine. But you've had them. Like they're in the soup floating around in the tom kha gai. They are lime leaves, and you can actually buy a little lime leaf tree, like a tiny one, which I think I'm going to do. You don't have to have them in the dish, but they're really good. Same thing with those. You got to mince them up tiny, or you can just skip them. The next thing on this is sriracha. Is it for people who are vegan or vegetarian? Are you fine with, is everybody okay with a little sriracha in this one? I was a private chef for so long, so I'm like, do you want 1 teaspoon of sriracha? Do you want half? Do you want none? Should I put some in, take it out?
I actually just realized I've been pronouncing sriracha wrong.
Is that the right way, sriracha?
I only say sriracha, so I know that I'm wrong.
People know what it is. Just call it rooster sauce. You're all good. We just call it rooster sauce.
Good stuff.
Lime juice is really important in this. You can build it right in your dish if you want, or you can build it in the in a bowl. adding everything in. I usually put the herbs in once it's cooled down. But I'll show you there's an change of that. So instead of fish sauce in this one here has the fish sauce in it. This guy, I'm going to use a little bit of the gluten-free tamari. You can tell I was a private chef in the Bay Area. But I really respect allergies. It's a thing. Cool. So do a little bit of that. And I'm going to put this back on a little bit because I didn't squeeze and dry my tofu very much. So you don't really have to. Roasted rice powder. Does anybody know this stuff? Oh, you are going to love me. Okay. So you can find this in all kinds of Asian markets. So literally what it is it's rice toasted up in a pan. So white rice, toast it up, and then you've got to grind it super, super fine. I sometimes make it, but I can't always get it super fine. Has anybody ever had Crying Tiger Thai salad, the hot beef salad? It's always on the top of that. So this is fun because if anybody is gluten-free, there's no gluten in this. It's also really good for crusting things because it's got a really fun, roasty, toasty flavor. So I love it. And especially if I'm making vegetarian or vegan food, it can kind of add a layer of richness and nuttiness that I love. So there's some of that in there. And then green onion, certainly we know that. I left the cilantro out for those of you that taste like soap, and I will put it on for those like me that eat it like it's going out of style. I'm with you all the way. And then we have mint leaves, and then this is going to go into the butter lettuce. One thing I want to show you that I was able to make earlier are rice noodles. So it's really easy to make. These are phenomenal. All you have to do is boil the water and just stick them in and soften them. So rice noodles are great. I always have these in my pantry because I think I'm so fancy. But they're actually really inexpensive and very fast. So that's really why I have them.
So question?
Yes.
What do you have your cooktop set? Are you like halfway to max heat or?
Sure. In this case, that's a great question. So what sort of temperature do I have this on? One thing you'll find is when people are used to cooking with other things, when you start out, people always crank it up. And when you first change to induction, you just burn a bunch of stuff in the beginning, or you crank it up and then you're like, I'm going to just slowly prep all my stuff. In this case, I went really high heat because I wanted to dry the tofu out a little bit, and then I just turned it down to medium. So there's about a week where you're just like, like, Jane, how do I drive this crazy thing? For you guys, how long did it take for you to sort of know how to drive really well? About a week. Yep. It's definitely a learning curve, and I respect that. I understand that for everybody that I gotta learn to cook again. Great. Super.
And that's that control aspect that you're talking of. So like how fast does the pan adapt when you change the temperature?
Yeah. That's instant. So yes, there's a learning curve, but the things you are learning are pretty rewarding. Yeah. But I really respect that not everybody wants to learn new stuff sometimes, because there's so much to learn. Cool. So what I'll do, I want to answer. So I did that answer like I was high, and then I turned it back to a medium. Over here, the chocolate is just going to live on 1, like it's just on its low. Or I can be really cheeky, and I can do it. I can quickly move to temperature, and white chocolate. Ooh, too high. So white chocolate, the lowest on the duck's top is 140 degrees. So it's going to move over here because white chocolate needs to be at about 110. So this one's a little more subtle. With your plugins, they don't have the range of power and control exactly as the built-ins.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Rachel,
All right.
can you use that set?
Yes. Can you use La Creuset? Absolutely, because that is, it's amazing. It is fully iron. It's really great. The handles do get hot on the Dutch ovens because they're inset, and so the heat comes up the side. So just be aware of that. But it works really well.
Now,
Cool.
what if you have like a pan, it's your favorite pan, and it's not magnetic? Is there anything that, is there a
Yes.
solution to that?
If you have a non-magnetic pan that you really love, there is, like you guys have in your kits, an adapter, right? So what the adapter does is it really acts like a burner. So it gets hot and then it transfers some of that heat. So it's like it's like a mini hot plate.
Okay.
So they work, but it's not ideal. It's slow, but it's okay. Yeah, so like that right there, that one is a Bosch range. So that's medium priced. That one is pretty incredible because it's got super, super low, but then you can actually link together a lot of that cooktop. So it's a lot of fun. Keep in mind that from a style point of view, you can get induction that looks sleek. It can have little slide screens. You can get traditional induction ranges that look like Blue Star makes fabulous induction ranges. And if people know that aesthetic, it's very country colors, big knobs. So you can get knobs, you can get slide screens. There's all kinds of stuff. So it's fun.
Actually, while you're talking about
Yes.
the price, do you mind if I just do a little plugging on some of the rebates? that we
Please,
have?
absolutely.
Go to the next slide. So how many here have gas at home? Gas. Okay, good. So, actually, with having a gas stove, if you do decide to switch to induction, SELCO, we offer a $250 rebate for that. So that's if you're replacing your gas or propane with a 4-burner induction range. If you do have electric already, we do still offer a rebate to switch to induction. That's a $100 rebate. And if you are a gas customer, that means you have Eversource, so you can actually take advantage of the Mass Save rebates as well. And Mass Save offers a $500 rebate. The only catch with that is just make sure that before you go out and buy the range, you have to verify that you have a gas stove. So just check the website on that first. You'll have to go through a process. But they do offer $500. And
Oh, like you verify online.
right. You
Yeah.
have to verify that you have a gas stove,
Got it.
and then you'll have to take a picture before and after. But it's very easy to go through the Mass Save website to do that. So to get the Eversource, you can get the Eversource rebate, which is $500, and you can also get the SELCO rebate, which is $250. So that's $750 off of a 4-burner stove, as long as it is Energy Star rated.
Yeah. And keep in mind, induction is currently still more expensive than gas or the other electrics. What's exciting is the temperature's coming down really fast, and with rebates you can be right there, which is exciting. So,
Yeah. We have a couple questions.
Question.
Sure.
4-burner or more.
A 4-burner or more? Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah.
And how long are the programs going to be around?
So for SELCO's,
Another
ours is on
thing,
a year calendar basis. So that 250 will last until December. We do revisit every year. But if you do buy it this year, you have until January 31st of 2026 for SELCO's, and I believe Mass Save is the same timeline.
Are there any like 110 volts instead of the 220 or 240? You have to change the electricity. That's the problem. I think.
Oh, okay.
Is there any range for that?
I'm not sure about that, Rachelle.
What is
I don't
it?
know if you know. Are there any lower? What was it? 110?
Yeah, the
and that's
regular voltage instead of the 240.
there is. It's really exciting. So one of the hard parts, there are quite a few people now removing gas for health reasons. We didn't really talk as much about this, but it's very impactful for air quality. Even when they're turned off, they're leaking. And when they're on, you're getting, NOx gases, formaldehyde, methane, pretty difficult things. My husband has asthma, and he really can't be around a gas stove. He can be fine in our house, which is amazing. So I feel very, very lucky about that. So there are a lot of people switching from either power and control that they prefer, safety aspects. So again, like very hard to sort of catch your neighbor's apartment on fire. My neighbor caught her apartment on fire. It's a very different thing. So it's power, control, safety, health, wellness, many different reasons that people are changing, but it's difficult sometimes. Sometimes you have to cap off the gas, put in all this extra power, make sure you have enough load. So it can be difficult. What's exciting is there's 110 ranges and cooktops now. available now, and they're amazing. So instead of having to run a new power line and do all of that, which can cost thousands of dollars, there's a company called Copper Home. They are in Berkeley, California, and I'm with them all the time. They have a range, beautiful 110 30-inch range. There's a bit of a backlog, and they just got an amazing contract with the city of New York. I think it's with LIPA. I could be wrong, or the New York Housing Authority for 10,000 ranges, because there's a law in New York that they have to check the gas lines all the time, and if there's any problem, they have to shut it down. So it's easier for them to replace, and it can literally pull that 30-inch range out, plug it in. The way it works is it has the 110, but it also has a battery boost in the bottom. So where the bottom drawer is that maybe has junk in there, that's actually a battery. And what's amazing when I work with them is they can charge it up and then they do this thing called walk in the park, where they literally cook in the middle of a park with no plugs in, and they cook on a walk.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's awesome. And it can go for a long time. And for power outages in California, watching California burn it's just one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in my lifetime. Really understanding that batteries now, getting away from fire, getting away from fuel is really important. One of the big things is the 110 units are remarkable. There's also there's a 110 cooktop that is called Impulse, by a company called Impulse. And I just did a induction and percussion event in Brooklyn on Friday with the Impulse cooktop. Anybody a Radiolab fan? Jad and Bernbrad was the musical director. I was like trying to be cool. And Melissa Clark from the New York Times and I cooked together. Oh my God, she's the greatest. So all this to say is that I am just kind of amazed at where this brings me. Here, there, it's really exciting. This is just as special. But I was pretty excited to meet Jad. So the incentives are really helping. Education is really helping, and then friends and family. We also realized too, we did some polling and we found out that friends and family are the most trusted across all party lines, and then sort of medical professionals, but it depends on party lines, and chefs. Chefs are very trusted, not only for induction cooking and kitchen talk, but about the whole decarb story, which is amazing. And my chef friends are like, who would trust us for anything? So questions, I'm going to put this together, but if you have questions, let us know. And what I want to do, any other kind of cooking questions? Are there any dishes that you might make that you want to know? Is this going to work? What's the story? Have you ever made it? Because I probably have, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I think we have a question right there.
Two questions.
Yes.
Is the rice powder you're using a substitute for cornstarch or a flavor enhancer?
Excellent question. First question is, this is not really, the rice powder is not really a thickener. It is a flavor enhancer. It adds some thickness, but it doesn't swell and create a thicker sauce.
You can't use it on the chicken or something.
You can use it. I use it when I like fry tofu and things like that, because it's good for crust. Okay. But it doesn't thicken like flour goes in and then it swells. This doesn't swell as much, so it's more of a flavor enhancer. And it's really inexpensive. I love it.
And
Yes?
The second question was, I can see, looking at your chocolate, I see this could be awesome for making candy. Because you set it at 252. And
It's amazing for making candy. And actually, if you're tempering chocolate, what an easy way to go. And again, with your double boiler, if the steam from the double boiler gets in your chocolate, everything seizes. Yeah. So you don't have that happening, which is really fun. So what's fun is, was anybody that is an induction owner, was there something that you discovered, either something good or something challenging, that was part of your journey, as we say? Anybody?
Right here?
Yes. Yes. What did you find? What's your name? Sorry.
I'm not Kevin.
Hi.
and was learning to, and I took a pancake griddle, a flat griddle,
Yep, flat pancake griddle.
but it was like hanging off one side.
Yes.
It cracked because it was so hot on one side. I was still learning. Next time,
Yes. So you cracked your cooktop.
cast iron.
Yep. So that is an important thing. I have miraculously I've never broken an induction unit in my life, but
Yeah.
it.
And cracked.
And prep.
Oh, the the pan.
Cast iron pan.
Oh, sure.
Because this
Okay.
end was probably cold, and this end was so hot.
It got incredible heat shock, which is amazing.
So that's just a lesson for me now.
You know, it's funny because so these are, you know, and it's a good that you brought that up because they're glass cooktops. So when you see a gas range with those grates, which are so hard to clean, said the private chef who dealt with that for years, it is very sturdy for sure. When you look at the glass cooktop, you think, oh no, am I going to break it? So I was like, oh no, you broke it, but you actually broke the pan. Yeah. A couple things, if you are concerned about your cooktop, like if you've got a really raggedy, scratchy pan, you can use a silicone mat underneath your pan, and you can cook right through it.
Wow.
But the thing is, and like I think one of the, you know, there's all the things you talk about. I touched my face. Sorry. Wait. Where's my sanitizer towel? Sorry about that. So there's all kinds of things that induction can do for you. You know, cleaning is really remarkable. You can cook right through this if you want. See, it's cooking right through there. So if you want that, but cleaning is so easy that it's kind of not that much of a thing. But if you have a really raggedy pan and you think it might scratch it, you can just cook right through your silicone mat. Make sure it's silicone and not plastic.
The safety aspect of this is just amazing. If you
It's
have, like
great.
small children.
Yes.
Like,
Short chefs.
right, short chefs, yeah.
I can get burned just as good as anyone else. Cool.
I think we have a question.
Yes, question.
So I found I have 2 pans that are all flat, but the bottoms are not flat.
Yeah.
I did order a silicone thing from a kitchen store, and it has
Nice.
like ribs on it.
Yes.
But I can put it down, and it doesn't make that noise, and
It doesn't. So it was from the vibrating then, right?
and it wasn't heating up well. It was just kind of like, you know. And I'm like, this is not a bad.
Is it one of the kind that all clad that was dark, like the anodized aluminum? Interesting. So that's a good point. What I learned recently is that even if a magnet sticks, some cookware is still making a better connection than others. I did an event for Energy Star with for Samsung, and Samsung has a really a reasonably affordable range. I'm not saying things that cost $1,400 are affordable, but it was a very good value. And they have a pan detector that you put it on, and it gives you 1 to 10 how well the pan worked.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, ooh, that's cool.
That's impressive.
But then once you have it, you know, and you're done with it.
Yeah.
But it was a good
It's a
feature.
good feature.
Totally. So any other questions? So by the way, I'll show you. I had this on here on the lowest setting, and I got the bottom a little brown. So I won't mix that in. But be aware with the hobs, the plugins, they're not going to go as low and as high sometimes as your cooktops. Long, slow cooking is remarkable. So I did, for the New York Times event, I made like a polenta. And polenta takes a long time. You're stirring it. It can often get stuck on the bottom. And what is so fun is once you get used to the subtle levels of heat, I was doing it and I'm like, oh, cool. The polenta is like, I want to keep it right at like 215. And it was perfect and it wasn't sticking. So having that level of cooking knowledge, it sort of teaches you as you go. Any other questions? What else do you want to know?
I have a question. We have just the plug-in,
Yes, the hob, sure.
and it's very loud when you plug it in.
They are.
Turn it on, it's loud.
They are.
If you have a range, is it just as loud?
Not at all. I know that plugins are fun and they worked for you, which is great. For some people, they can almost be a little detrimental because they can be loud or they can vibrate the pan more. So there really can be some, but they're still like a good gateway, I think.
We have it a lot, it's just that when it's on, it's loud.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people now, and if you want to try like not cooking on gas, that's great. You still want to use your ventilation. So a lot of times people are like, cool, I'll put my plug-in electrical item right on top of my gas cooktop. No. So please do, if you do that, just remove the knobs, because I promise you that knob will get knocked and your hob will turn into a barbecue.
Speaking of that too, if you don't mind just going to the next slide, the library does have, I think, 3 on hand of the small cooktop. So as long as you have a library card, you can check out their library of things and
So cool.
give that a try.
Yeah. And just know that with the sound, there are, it can be different with the plugins. You all have in this state the greatest knowledge base of appliances and induction cooking nationwide. Who knows what I'm talking about? Who knows Yale Appliance? Oh my God. Steve Scheinkoff and his team, anything you want to know about induction. Like I do a lot on LinkedIn and everybody's like, dude, oh my God, like Steve liked your page. Like he's so awesome. Now we're like this. But Yale Appliance has phenomenal content. They have an induction buying guide that's free and it is phenomenal. So I don't want to, please buy local. So if there is an appliance store here, please do buy from them. Steve does not mind if you look up all of his amazing content. He also deals with, is it loud? Does it have how many burners? What's the oven like? And keep in mind, one thing that people confuse a lot, there's convection, which is inside your oven, that is moving air, and induction, which is surface cooking. And I totally get that that's confusing. Yeah, but look up, if you have questions and you want to look, the content at Yale Appliance it's got to be the best in the world. I mean, they're amazing. So please use that as a resource. And, but do buy as local as you can, right? So I'm just preparing these little lettuce cups for y'all. Any other thoughts or questions?
I think we have one more question.
Yep.
When you plug this in, are the lights gonna dim?
Right?
Is it strong enough power?
No. You just have to make sure, what, you mean this one or the 110 or?
Either one of them.
No, I've been plugging them in. You mean at your house? Like when you, no.
Not like my old fashioned iron.
Got you. No, these guys are 110, which is really nice. One time I did like a team building event and I plugged 6 of them in like some old house in Berkeley. And yeah, we shut off the power, but I knew what to do. Yeah. And then I did set off the fire alarm at the Energy Star event. I told them we're cooking in this giant atrium. And I'm like, we're going to be cooking. Is it okay? They're like, we do it all the time on induction. I'm like, great. We start cooking and the fire alarm goes off for the entire hotel. I'm thinking people are having showers, they're making out, they're doing all the stuff, and they have to run out. I'm like, oh my God. But I did not get in any trouble because I asked and they promised. And then like nobody minded that the firemen came. So adventures in induction, people. Any comments from any of our induction owners, like anything, insights or thoughts that you have to add?
Cleaning is so,
Cleaning is so
No, it's not
easy.
because of the
we don't have knobs.
level of iron,
We are,
and level of it's very low.
And what's your name?
Kathy.
So Kathy pointed out something that I think is really fun. You don't have knobs, and I think for most people going to a slide screen, they'd be like, but the ease of cleaning, and then when you shop for these, it's confusing because there's knobs and slide screens and this and that and the price range and the color and so you're trying to like figure out what your favorite is. But remember that you only have to get knowledgeable about the one you get, right? So for you guys, did you go from knobs to a slide screen or?
we had knobs on our electric
Yeah.
cooktop,
Got it.
the glass ones.
And it was a good trade-off because the cleaning is lovely,
Oh, yeah.
right? So you're like, bye-bye knobs.
Oh, yeah.
See you later, knob. But everybody's different, and it's whatever works for you. Cool. All right. Any other questions or comments that we have? And I will start serving some snackies. You're like, no, stop talking, feed me.
Next question.
Yeah.
So if somebody has gas, will SELCO help us with taking that gas up? Or how does that work? Turning on the gas?
To shut off the gas line, I think that's just you call Eversource, right?
Plumber.
Yeah, because
Plumber?
they have to cap it, right?
Plumber and electrician.
How about disposing of the gas cooktop?
We do not do that. No.
Eversource might, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes where you buy your appliance, they'll take like a fee or a.
Yeah. Absolutely. And keep in mind, everybody, I am thrilled that big box stores are carrying a lot of these, and that's really great. But when you are making a change and a switch, remember that again, I am thrilled. I love that those bigger stores are doing it. But with this, I feel that being able to sit down with an appliance, a person that's maybe been there for a while, is really amazing. And the price is the same. So my husband works for Agron Appliance up in Maine, and the pricing is the same. But the difference is that I'm getting ready to feed you guys. You're like, are we having an exam? What's happening? That I think that the education and being able to sit down with somebody is really, really important. So that can make a difference. And not a lot of salespeople freaking love induction, but it's a longer sales process. So if somebody comes in and they're like, I want all the gas and let's go, you can write that sale up pretty quick. With induction, there's a lot more education, so it's a little bit hard. So I'm working on that with salespeople to get them to sell, to just kind of have that as part of their repertoire. Cool. All right. Any other questions?
One in the back. Yep.
That's actually a really good segue. You had mentioned our favorite orange colored store and our favorite blue colored store.
Sure.
In the past, we have searched for induction stoves, and they have like maybe one or two available.
Sure.
If we were seriously looking for induction and specifically induction, do you have a recommendation as to where we could go to actually see the product instead of having to view them online?
Absolutely. So I do start with the induction buying guide. It's gold. And again, Yale Appliance makes that available to anyone. So that's amazing because you can sort of start to understand what you're looking at. Then locally, who are the local purveyors of appliances around here? Yeah. The hard thing I think for a lot of venues is that now induction is getting to be a huge thing, everybody, and the demand is going up. So the prices are coming down, but they're usually not plugged in live, which is challenging. Again, I want you to buy locally and support local. I don't want to advocate for anybody else, but you can go to Yale Appliance. I know their Framingham store has dozens of induction plugged in live, and they also do demos and things like that. But I think half the battle is figuring your price point and then comparing it to other things that you want. Like, are you bakers? Do you want like a bougie oven? Is the oven like not such a big deal? So so that's a good way to kind of start. I think. I'm trying to we're working with everybody from our organization is working with everybody to really try to plug in at least one, if not more, so that people can really understand how they work. Any other questions or comments, thoughts? Cool. So I think what we can do, we can chat up here too. So I'm putting together your samples. This one here is the chicken. what I also did not explain to you all is I used also Thai basil, which is really amazing. So if you don't, often it's pretty hard to find the lime leaves, but the Thai basil is available in a lot of places. It's real, and it holds up to heat. So you can put it into a hotter dish, and it's pretty terrific. All right. So if for the one that is, I'll get that question 1 second. For the tofu one, if you can, I know you're like, we're gonna line up. It's actually delicious. I want to give that to people that have, allergies or food aversions first, and then we can share it out to everybody else afterwards. But I want to cover that. And there was more questions.
Yeah, a question about the magnetic field around the device in the,
Yeah.
in the cooking area.
Yes.
It's going to impact either a cell phone or maybe a watch or pacemaker.
Yeah.
Things like that.
No, that's an important question. And I am always have to say, I am not a medical professional. I am a chef. I have to qualify that. It is such a low magnetic field that you would have to be on it. Like you'd have to be very, very close. So what's interesting is when I boil water, I can actually lift this up and it'll still boil to about here. So your field is very low, physically low and also low. You would have to have also quite an old pacemaker. So there's some really great resources out there to cover that, but it is definitely doesn't interfere with any of your devices. From you guys' point of view, do you have resources anywhere on that? Like, do you all cover that or no? Because we're not medical professionals. But it is not an area of danger, except in a very, very, very rare circumstance. Yes. But it's something, it's interesting. Like the safety benefits are really, they're really something. Anything else from you guys as you transition? I'm going to put cilantro on just this one. Anything else from our inducted people that was part of your learning? When you chose induction, what was the impetus for that?
We're getting our kitchen gutted and redone, so it's all new appliances.
Fun.
The safety of it.
Yeah.
Our grandson is now 8 years old. This was about 3-4 years ago.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of videos of kids on stoves cooking, like on them.
Jeez.
And while we were gutting out the kitchen,
Yes.
we bought a hob.
Yes.
And we were cooking like, the rest of the rest of the kitchen
Yes.
was down to studs, and we were still cooking like we were normally, never missing a beat.
That's great. So the hob actually was that gateway
And
for you.
yeah, and then once we got the kitchen enough that we could put the
That's amazing.
range in,
Yeah.
the burner set in.
That's
The
incredible.
hob is off to one side
Yeah, that's
only, and
Yeah, we brought one camping because it was easy just to
That's
pop 'em in
incredible.
use. I think we have another question back there.
Yes.
General question for the use as well. I know
Yes.
temperature control on making yogurt after some milk is pretty precise.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, you're fermenting and pasteurizing, beer making. It's so next level because you can set the temp. And some of them have a thermometer that goes in, but if that's how you want to use it, get on that buying guide and figure out what is going to give you an exact, like the Thermador, by the way. Has anybody seen the Thermador Freedom induction cooktop? It's really fancy. The Thermador Freedom and the Gagano, which is sister company, that's a full surface. So you don't have to just put your pans on one spot. The whole surface works. And as you move your pan, the heat follows the pan around.
Oh, that sounds.
And the temperature precision is amazing. It's got a little knob that you put on your pan, and it gets you absolutely exact precision. So some of the things are, that's another thing that's hard for the salespeople is with gas, you turn it on and it goes, and that's it. And I get that. With induction, you're like, it's got 2 temperatures, and it can do this, and it can do that, and it can put your child to bed. And so there's a lot of research to do. But yeah, for precision temperatures, it's divine. Or the steam ovens. Oh, They're the greatest. So remember that the induction is really the center of the conversation because it's such exciting and new technology, but there's so much in what I call today's electric kitchens that's amazing. So I want to get your snacks, but if you have questions about speed ovens, combi steam, anybody have a combi steam oven? Oh my holy moly. They're a electric wall oven that is, it's an oven and it's a steamer and it's both together and yogurt. Oh my God, it's amazing. So yeah, combi steams are remarkable. There's a lot you can do now with smaller ovens and smaller pieces that are so multifunctional. All right, so let's do this. If we don't have any other burning questions or comments or anything from our inductees, let me get you some snacks. I'm gonna finish the chicken and then I'll switch out my gloves and do the tofu. Cool, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Na, 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 na.